Up, 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 up. Um. Okay. Final verdict after the playtest open beta, closed beta. Um. The game sucks. Not the full game. Obviously, that isn't out yet. But so far, the closed beta, the playtest for Dragon Ball: The Breakers, it sucks. Final verdicts, it sucks. 5 out of 10. I don't have like much to say about the Raider because even though my priority level is at 19, I haven't been a Raider in a single match. Well, I've been the Raider once. Throughout the entire playtest, I've been it one time, and my priority at this point has reached 18. I've gone 18 games without being the Raider once. Funniest shit ever. And because of that, all I have to, only material I have to work off of is a survivor, which isn't very good because playing as a survivor sucks. See, in games like Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th, the game, you have, options, right? It's running away is viable, grabbing a weapon or like a defensive item and fighting back against the attacker is also viable. And Friday the 13th, they have various weapons strewn around the map. You can pick up these weapons, you can attack Jason. If you hit Jason with like an axe or a machete or a bat and you hit it like at the right angle at the right time, you can potentially stun him and then knock him down, or at the very least do some damage and temporarily stagger him. If you hit him with like a rants, you can still stagger him. There's also like flare guns and rifles, which instantly put him down for a bit. Firecrackers, which stun him. Um, Various other things that work. There are viable methods of like taking care of Jason or like just running away from Jason. You can even kill Jason. It's a relatively easy method once you figured it out and once you have everything unlocked. You have to first call Tommy Jarvis and have him come to the map, right? Then you have to find his shack and find Pamela's sweater. Then you have a female character put on the sweater, which allows her to trick Jason into thinking she's Pamela, which will stun him. Then, well, first you have to before that you have to knock off Jason's mask, which takes a couple of good hits. Maybe if you're lucky, one hit with like an axe or a machete. Once his mask is off, you have to stun him with the sweater. Then have Tommy Jarvis either take an axe or a machete to his face while he's stunned, and you can get rid of Jason. Easy as that. And Dead by Daylight, running away is really the popular choice here. It's what everybody does because it's easiest to do and it's a viable way of getting away. You can run away, you can crawl away, and you can sneak away. It's all viable. Um, then there's also fight. Not, I don't. Well, I think yeah, firecrackers. There's there's firecrackers. There's flashlights and there's flash grenades. As if recently, all of these items stun the killer in some capacity. They'll either blind them and stop them from attacking for a period of time. They'll free up a survivor that's been grabbed and down, and they'll be back to the injured state where they can move around and such not and such. All that good stuff, right? It'll stun the killer. Those are viable methods. You can use one of those and stun them to get away. You can just run away, cause like that's possible, right? You can out you survivors inherently have a higher speed than the killers, cause it's only fair. So you can outrun them. You could you can jump over you can jump over like windows and stuff. You can knock down pillars, not pillars, pails or wooden pails, and that'll stun the killer if they run into them, and it'll prevent them from catching you. They have to break it down, which takes a second or two. So you can get away fairly easily. And evolve. Um, Evolve is a unique case. It's like predator hunting grounds in which you're not a helpless victim. You're an armed soldier, right? So you come in, packing heat and shit. So you can fight back against this hulking monster you put up against the monster. You can fight back, and you're tasked with killing it, which is doable. It takes a lot of effort, but it's doable. You can kill the monster. And Predator hunting grounds, it's the same thing. You come in, with a group of buddies who are you're all armed to the teeth. You can take down the predator with your weapons. You just need, teamwork, coordination, intelligence, and a bit of patience. Right? It's gonna be a struggle, but you can overcome it if you have your wits about you. The same cannot be said for the breakers. And the breakers, if you even come close, like even if you're like in the fucking same area, right? If I'm in area A and the raiders also in area A, death sentence automatically, capital punishment. See, the funny thing about the breakers is in Friday the 13th, Jason has this ability called Sense, where he can, detect characters across the map in like a limited range. He can pick up on them when like scared or when he's nearby. And Dead by Daylight, there are certain perks and abilities that allow the killers to sense the aura of a, survivor in close proximity. The Raiders and the Breakers also have this ability, except they can use it from afar, from very afar, which is not what the other games do. The other games limit your range, and here, if you're in one area, right, if the Raiders on the one side of the A and I'm on the other side of A, he can just use key tracking and catch me. He'll know where I am, and he'll just come dashing towards me. And once he sees me, right, once he gets into my vicinity, it's over. There's no way to fight back. I've been in so many games at this point, like over 20 of them. It's virtually nearly impossible to fight back or even just run away, right? Because remember, the Raiders are superpowered individuals, and the survivors are normal humans, right? And Friday the 13th in Dead by Daylight, you have normal humans against a superpowered individual. The Killers and Jason. In Evolve and Predator Hunting Ground, you have super forces against a super force. The soldiers against the monsters and the predators. In the Breakers, though, you have normal humans against an overpowered force, which is not the way to do it. You can't do that. You can have a normal force against a normal force against a super force against a super force against an overpowered force, but you can't have a normal force against an overpowered force. That's not how that works. That's unbalanced as all hell. And it really shines through in the game. Right, so once the Raider catches you, you're going to die. There's no getting away. There's no getting out of this one. Because the Raider can fly, right? You cannot fly. Unless you have a dragon charge, you can't fly. And odds are you're not going to have a dragon charge by the time he gets to you. So, you're running on the ground, hopeless. You're slow as shit. You don't have any way of getting rid of the Raider. So the Raider flies up to you, right? And in 3 shots, right? 3 punches. 3 button clicks. You're down for the count. The survivors have this little barrier thing, right? It's a barrier that surrounds them. It takes like 2 hits to get rid of, and once that barrier is down, you're susceptible to like damage that can actually knock you out. And all it takes is 1 shot, and you're out. It's 3 shot, 3 tap, you're gone. It's so fucking stupid because it's so easy for the Raider to put it off that it makes gameplay virtually pointless because you're not gonna get anywhere. The Raider can even like attack you from afar with like Kamehameha waves and death beams and whatnot. They can attack you from afar and do the same amount of damage instantly, right? If they're up close, they have to punch you 3 times, right? 3 button clicks. But if they're from afar, they can hit you by like 1 energy blast, and that takes up the whole 3 hit thing, and it's instantaneous. So you're out for the count. Fuck you. Right. Once they knock you down, the Raider can, basically execute you. In the case of Cell, if you get knocked down, he'll drain you of your life force, and you'll be, down for like 50 seconds or so, in which your teammates can come revive you. If you get revived, you have 1 more shot. So if he knocks you down again and lets you roll, just like crawl away, then you can be revived again. But if he catches you one more time and executes you again, you're down for the count. You're just out of the match. And if he's like nearly at the next level of evolution, he'll absorb you, which allows him to transform. That's Ugh. Right. So Raider catches you, flies over to you, you can't escape, he kills you. That's the circle of life. They give you various weapons that are supposed to hold off the Raider, but they don't do jack shit. There's a skill in the game that you get by summoning a certain Krillin Dragon Soul, or whatever the shit you're called. It's called Krillin Shoe, right? And you can throw it at the Raider, and it'll temporarily stun him. Except it doesn't, because the game sucks and doesn't have an auto-lock feature, so you can't aim at him. He'll already be rushing you by the time you throw the socket at you, by the time you throw the shoe at him. So it's basically pointless. There's a rocket ability, as when you're playing as Oolong, you can shapeshift into a rocket, which allows you to like fly through the sky for a temporary period of time, and you can also explode. And when you explode, it's supposed to damage and stun the Raider, except it doesn't, because why would it? And then there's rocket launchers, right? A rocket launcher and a golden rocket launcher. And they're supposed to be there to aid you in, stopping the Raider, right? So if you shoot, like in the trailer, and the gameplay footage shown in the teaser, in the trailer, where like Oolong and Cell has Boma, or like one of the CACs, and he shoots a rocket at him, which stuns him, and he flies away, right? So yeah, it's supposed to stun and damage the Raider, except it doesn't. Why would it? Yeah, none of this shit works. Not just because, you can't aim it properly. Thanks, Dimps. But it also just doesn't work in general. For some reason, it just doesn't work. The Raider can get, hit head on if you're lucky, and it wouldn't do shit to him. Which really sucks. because then you're just getting fucked in the ass. So yeah, you can't run away because he'll catch you. You can't fight back because you don't have any weapons that actually work. You can't defend yourself because none of your defensive items actually do anything. And then there is the Dragon Charge, right? The magnum opus of the game. Well, not magnum opus, but it's one of the features on the back of the box, right? They advertised it. They, touted it as one of the greatest features in the game, right? So you're normal humans, and it's thrown across the map, or like dragon charges, or soul charges, and you take those, right? And you can set powers beforehand. Once you have enough power, you can temporarily transform into like one of the Z fighters and use their powers and fight against Cell. Except you can't, because why would you? It's not just me. I know you'd be like, oh, it's skill issue, doofus. It's not a skill issue, not at all. When I use the Dragon Charge, right, and I step up to Cell, and I try to throw a punch, nothing happens. I try to shoot an energy blast. Either nothing happens, it misses, or he knocks me out before I can do it, because he can just interrupt supercharges. He can just interrupt, you while you're charging a super attack, which takes about a second, mind you. His don't. If you try to, the Raider also has a counter, right? What this means, the Survivor doesn't have this. What this means is, if you try to throw a punch at him, he can click the mouse button and just stop your combo altogether, right? And even damage you. So like, you throw a punch and he clicks the mouse, and he punches you back, and it stuns you, which allows him to get you in an infinite combo. Just a string of fast-paced punches that knock you out instantaneously. God, you can't land a hit on this dude. If you're lucky, you get him with like one of your energy blasts, and do negligible damage. You would expect, since Dragon Charges give you the power of a Z fighter, right? Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, Gohan, Piccolo, Krillin. You would expect the damage to be at least noticeable, right? Moderate levels of damage, and you would expect your character to be able to take a heap more, a heap more damage, right? One combo would knock you out, even if you have a Dragon Charge. So you would expect them to be able to take more damage, more punishment, right? Because you have the powers of a Z fighter. This is a real deal, right? This is like fucking this is like if you were Goku himself. But fuck all that. You don't get shit. You're still as weak as before. You just have the ability to fly and to shoot energy blast now for like 5 seconds. If you're lucky, you have 6 seconds. But on most occasions, right, you have 1 second because he knocks you out. And every punch he deals to you, every punch the Raider deals to you, that's another chunk of your remaining Dragon Charge power cut away. It's so annoying. So yeah, you can't run away. You can't defend yourself. You can't fight back, and you can't use a Dragon Charge. I'm like playing a game, right? I'm just like fucking looking down at my teammates, and I see like they use their Dragon Charges, which is all cool. The little bar comes up, or like their remaining Dragon meter, and I'm just sitting there watching, rapidly just fade away, right? It just gets cut down instantly before my eyes. It's so fucking crazy. So yeah, I find it hard. It's like with Shinobi Striker, a game I used to be really into back in the day. I have like 80 hours on it right now. I used to be really into it. It used to be fun for me. I used to stay up all night playing it. But its flaws, its faults, and its shortcomings quickly became more and more apparent to me, and I found it harder and harder to enjoy the game. That's the way I'm feeling with this, at least the beta. I find it incredibly hard to have fun playing as a survivor when you're constantly being hunted by a force that you cannot run from, a force that you cannot stop, and a force that you cannot defend yourself against. What's the fun in that? There's no fun to be had there. I'm very sorry, but there's no fun to be had there. This game is in a very poor state at the moment. I mean, technically, it's fine. I mean, like it runs cool. I have like a mid-end laptop, a mid-end Intel HP laptop. I can barely run Xenoverse 2 on it without turning the settings down to the lowest possible. And I turned down like the breakers to the lowest possible, and for some reason it runs better than Xenoverse 2 does, despite having, much more demanding system requirements, which is pretty cool. I'm glad they optimize it for people like me, poor people. And the game looks good, right? It doesn't look like Xenoverse, sharp and jagged and shit. It looks really nice. It looks smooth. I really enjoy it. Technically everything's fine, but God, they need to fix the gameplay ASAP. That's enough of my ranting, so I should probably move on to a different topic. Move on to some other shit. I'll just have to wait and see how far they progress as time goes on. The game is slated to release, I believe, well, I know it's 2022. I'm not quite sure when in 2022, though. Yeah, the game page on Steam just says 2022. Yeah, it's supposed to drop 2022, so we'll just have to see what happens then.